Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Roby and M-Scribe, and today we got a bunch of tabs to look at. Ordinal Takeover.
Yeah, Ordinals is a busy sector, dude. There's a lot to cover.
There's so many tabs, dude.
Because there's so much happening, and our job is to maintain our gaze, because obviously we got a lot happening ourselves.
Yeah.
That we're going to talk about a little bit.
Well, that we talked about yesterday.
Correct. And then, because these things are happening, but we're not the only ones experimenting on Bitcoin.
Correct.
And that is kind of like the whole point of Ordinals. It has enabled a whole new generation of tinkerers and experimenters.
Dude, I've always wanted to be a scientist.
Is that what we are? We're block scientists, right?
Block sci?
Block sci. That's what
Nice.
it feels like. It feels like some real block finugling happening.
Block finooglers?
Finugalists? Maybe that's what we actually really are.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're doing some weird shit over here. But nonetheless, this period of the week is all about reflecting on Ordinals, right?
Yeah.
And what it's doing, how it's performing, what it's, I guess,
how
bringing to the world.
How it's doing, yeah. All right, so let's take a look at Whales Whoosh.
The names of these people don't matter as much as the content, so let's not.
Well, thank you, Mr. Whoosh.
Yeah.
All right, monthly NFT trading volume over time. Ethereum has lost its dominance. Sorry, TJ. Will Bitcoin Ordinals and Solana stay on top?
Yeah, I don't know what the whole Solana thing, but yeah, whatever. Solana's doing its thing. Look at Ethereum, though. Nice and, dominant, as he said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, it's sneaking up on him.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. Wowzers.
Oh, Bitcoin's just
No.
took a little peek.
Failed experiment. Ordinals are dead. Oh, just kidding. Ordinals are not dead. So I guess that's basically where we are right now. Like, Bitcoin's on top.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It means something, right? And how did this come to be, dude?
Yeah.
Can you recall?
Well, little Casey Rudamore.
Right. That little weird ordinal theory handbook that we looked at, remember last year, like in February?
Yeah, I do. I remember that.
And we're like, dude, what the fuck is this?
I was like, this is cool.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
And then the Skittles dropped from Yuga Labs.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Skittles.
That might be it.
$15 million. God, freaking Skittles.
And now we have monkeys. We have frogs.
That's right.
We got nodes. Pretty soon we're going to have pizza ninjas and such. And yeah.
Did you forget bitmaps or what? Or was that intentional?
Of course not. Well, specifically calling out like the PFPs and such.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, as a result, Bitcoin's on top, dude. So that is kind of like the narrative leading into 2024. Ordinals are here to stay, right?
Yeah, that's good news. Sorry, TJ.
Call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure that ETH line is higher than the Solana line. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, they're definitely neck and neck, right?
They are, yeah.
I mean, I don't think this is saying like Ethereum is on its way to zero or anything like that.
It is interesting that Ethereum pretty much stayed the same, though.
The tweet says, "Will Solana stay on top?" I don't know.
Hold on, let me make sure.
I feel you on that one, TJ. It's a little bit of like a journalistic integrity at stake here.
Yeah, you're right.
Ethereum is definitely,
Yeah, Solana didn't really breach here.
Maybe briefly. You're right, TJ. Ethereum still has some hope, dude.
Sorry, Will.
All right, moving along since we have so many tabs.
Good point. All right, so, okay, that's a copy there. Bitcoin, 46,000. What does that have to do with
I mean, we are talking What does Bitcoin have to do with Ordinals? What are you talking about, dude? If you don't recall, there was an ETF this week, right?
That's right. What does that have to do with Ordinals?
Oh, my God.
It's like...
What do you think, dude? Where's the liquidity for Ordinals going to come from?
ETFs?
From Bitcoin. So it's important that this recent events of the ETFs.
So boomers are going to get into Ordinals now?
Well, that's the question. Yeah, all this like
no way, dude.
Why not? What do you mean?
No.
Well, not these boomers. Yeah, of course they're fucking institutional brokers.
Money's locked
allow
up.
them to do that.
Yeah, correct.
But
what this will do is bring a ton of like marketing attention to Bitcoin, and then the non-boomers are going to be like, "Oh yeah, Bitcoin's cool."
Yeah, Bitcoin finally has regulatory support, I guess, and the boomer class is.
That's right.
Whether or not they actually are tangibly purchasing Bitcoin from like a from a Web3 entity, they're not. They're staying in their lane with their regulatory, parameters and such.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, they're still participating in the overall economy of cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, and the market cap right now is $913 billion, dude.
Yeah.
That's
so there was
insane.
we were wondering what the volatility would look like after this ETF, and it's volatile, but
It definitely is.
not anything crazy,
No. We've seen 30% losses in Bitcoin on the day.
60%. Remember COVID? Holy
yeah.
shit, that was a terrifying day.
Yeah.
That was scary. All right, moving along.
All right, wow. Van X, new Bitcoin ETF commercial hits hard. Bitcoin may help guard against the government devaluing your money.
Do we want to look at some of these, or do we want to pass? You just want to pass?
I listened to this while you were playing it. I found it very interesting.
Yeah, let's see what the narrative of these Wall Street guys. What are they saying to their customers?
When Bitcoin was born, it broke that endless cycle.
Kind of quiet.
It's not a defiance of finance. Bitcoin may help guard against the government devaluing your money.
Damn.
Finally, you can buy and hold Bitcoin in an ETF with the Van Eck Bitcoin Trust, HODL. Search the
HODL!
HODL in your
Wow.
Dude, it's so crazy that these guys are like memeing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, would you ever have
No.
expected a crypto meme to hit Wall Street, like
No.
a major institutional product offering?
Yeah, no.
Well, it's
But
happening.
this is like appealing to our generation, right?
Yeah.
It's like
I mean,
us with 401ks, the very few of us,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good point. A lot of us can't even.
Buy a
Retirement's
house?
not even a consideration.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the financial gurus out there are saying don't put any
Yeah.
any money in your 401k because it's not going to.
Correct. But nonetheless, so it's interesting to see, how are they going to convince the customer base, that Bitcoin is important, But not all of them are doing this. Check it out.
Oh, yeah, this is crazy. Vanguard says it has no plans to offer Bitcoin ETFs or crypto products. Spokesperson says high volatility runs counter to our goal of helping investors generate positive real returns over the long term.
Damn.
Real returns,
So there's still some heavy resistance, which is to be expected. These are the real boomers within the boomer class that are like, you know what? Yeah, the SEC has given the nod for this, but we have our principles to uphold.
I mean, I could kind of see the resistance because of the volatility, but it's amazing how so many institutions hate money.
Well, they're gonna find out real quick. I think that over time, this is gonna become probably one of the more in-demand products, and not on Wall Street.
Yeah,
right?
there's gonna be a lot of volume.
Well, this is the new tech boom, right? Like the Web3. Once we start packaging into actual institutional grade investment products, they're gonna start to realize, oh shit, the .com thing is happening all over again, and Wall Street's gonna be fucking slurping away, just like they did in the early 2000s, late 90s.
That's right.
So they'll find out how this is like you said, this is not gonna age well over time.
All right, CB Spears, what the Bitcoin ETF may do to Bitcoin Ordinals. All
Oh,
right,
you asked that, yeah.
Here's the connection. The question now is about audience capture. How do we secure the hot ball of money to stay on Bitcoin and not rotate to the next Ethereum gadget? What cements Bitcoin's dominance as the NFT chain? Probably the Bitcoin ETF. BlackRock alone has $2 billion of capital lined up for its fund, mostly from Bitcoin money, which will certainly catalyze additional capital moving into Bitcoin. Capital begets capital.
Yum, yum, yum.
Post first purchase, the next step for many in Bitcoin adherent is a laser-eyed podcast. But this tribe of Bitcoin is hostile to ETF money, even if they desire the ETF pump, which brings us to Ordinals, a welcoming community in Bitcoin with a proven track record of delivering digital-first products. With new money coming into Bitcoin, the provenance of certain Bitcoin NFTs will only increase as a status symbol, similar to CryptoPunks, as Udi puts it in the tweet thread. Ordinals both attract new entrants and give them a backstage pass.
There you go, dude. What do you think about that?
I tend to agree.
Yeah, I agree too. It's exactly like what we just said. Wall Street is just not getting an appetite for this stuff. These crypto products. Bitcoin, of course, being the beachhead of it all, right? But over time, they're going to see Bitcoin really is a very performant asset.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, shit. You just go from the beginning to
Yeah.
now. I mean, it just number only went up.
Yeah, but they didn't have any exposure to that. But
No,
Bitcoin's
for
going to
sure.
continue to perform into the future.
Well,
right?
yeah. Now that we got institutional money in
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they're going to realize, like, damn, this is a good part of my portfolio. Like, I wonder what other crypto products out there,
Yeah.
that, are potentially investable. Like, right? This,
Like,
DeFi. Interesting.
That's right.
Financial products on chain. I want to know more,
Yeah.
So it's a big overall. This is one hell of a stimulus, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on to
Domo.
yeah. Speaking of ordinals, and now we're gonna transition to BRC20 land. What's going on?
Okay, he's running an OPI, Open Protocol Indexer.
I think that's the OPR. Yeah, the Open Protocol Indexing Network that Domo and friends have kind of like concocted to, so that the BRC20 indexing isn't just like a totally one man show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so that it's up and running.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So I believe this is open source. Yeah, open source.
And if you remember from last week, they had to make some announcements of their alterations, right? Like now they're actually going down the path of Jubilee, right?
Yeah.
So it's running. It is now an open source client. You can also participate.
Yeah,
You
we're
can
definitely
click on
going to
this
be
next tab right here.
We're going to be definitely looking into that. So OPI is ready.
There it is.
Agreed path forward. Run a node. Become an indexer. Make BRC20 more robust. Start here.
So I like this. I want to see this permeate to all like ecosystems, like open source indexers.
Yeah, this is what Track is doing with Track Core.
Correct. Yeah, this is going to become, I mean, shit, dude. We're going to talk about NATs here eventually at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But through our experience over the last, getting the DMT NAT ecosystem off the ground, fuck, man, like the indexing is like so critical.
Dude, it is the most critical.
Yeah.
Right? Every single fungible token out there, every single transfer inscription, everything has to have an API call. Why? Because we need a source of truth, right? Because you can take a transfer inscription text, copy and paste it, and inscribe it. But that transfer inscription is not valid, right? Because it just came out of thin air.
Correct.
Right. So there's a history, and you got to track the history of these tokens.
It's tremendous. It's a tremendous endeavor.
Yeah, without the indexing and the APIs, like money's not real. Like
correct. And there is a lot of trust involved at the moment in this whole like ecosystem. So creating these at some point, like creating the foothold of what is going to underpin the infrastructure to indexing all these new digital asset classes and such, this new digital information age, right? What is the process to indexing that properly and efficiently? And at some point distributing that to have like, outside contribution to maintain it. Like that is probably one of the more killer narratives emerging from Bitcoin.
All right. So what do we got here with BRC 100 protocol stack?
Well, we've been talking a lot about, look, this looks familiar, right? Look at all these different extension protocols here. So BRC 100 is kind of like TAP in a sense.
Okay.
And we talked about like at the end of last year, whenever we interviewed Based,
right?
Basepad and talked to Lambda. It's like, dude, clearly like projects, ecosystems, protocols, whatever that their goal in mind is to introduce more robustness to like these ordinals or whatever.
Right.
They're going to be very important this year, right? So we got TAP. We have what Unisat is doing with their modularity, their module systems and such. Adding extensibility, a new function, right? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So BRC 100 is definitely on our radar, right?
Yeah. So all these extensions is very interesting. So basically, if you were to implement this in a product, you would just go to the latest one and implement that, right?
Yeah, like if you're building like an application that has like a specific like protocol requirement, and then you would deploy, I would assuming one of these protocol variants that supports that function, right? So we obviously need to spend more time looking into this. Mikhail, if you're interested to come in and speak about your protocol, we're very interested to learn more.
Yeah, dude, let's talk, man. There's a lot to learn here.
Yeah, so there's a lot to go through here. There's the protocol docs, so we don't have enough time, obviously, in this one to go through all that, but it's all here in the description. You want to know more? Here's our automated liquidity protocol for BRC 100 assets. Like, this is beautiful stuff.
That's cool.
And, of course, the ultimate for you degens, there is an active market for these assets.
The most interesting chart in all of crypto is just a list of tokens. and their market caps.
and their holders and how many times they've been sold. And this is very standard information, right? Are they minted out or are they not?
Yeah.
If you click on one individually, it's like, oh, how many exist? You could derive market caps from that. I mean, this is market dynamics, right? It's expected.
So 24-hour volume, 0.7 Bitcoin. Okay, so we got some sales. We got some holders here, 6,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's super early too.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're any new protocol it's again bringing more robustness to the space. I think deserves attention.
I agree.
Yeah, because I think that's where the real value is going to kind of emerge.
All right, we got Thread Guy Ordinals.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. We're transitioning into the rare stats world now,
Yeah.
and the reason why I brought this up is because this to me made me extra bullish on rare stats for some because the main Ethereum guys are kind of like mocking the idea of like rare sats and like the narrative.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're mocking.
They don't get it then.
They don't get it.
Okay.
They're talking shit as if oh, you guys have like these on-chain, non-arbitrary properties to your art. Ooh.
Oh, big deal, right?
Yeah, like you guys are cute. Like,
Oh, poor guy.
Read through some of this stuff, dude. It's hilarious.
All right, so Ordinals wake up and just say big words. It's a cartoon picture. Relax, bro.
Yeah, big words.
Unironically, this is why the puppets slap. They're redacted, and nobody tried to show me on the provenance of the rare sat inscriptions on the parallelized ZK Sync node Satoshis. So he's just putting words together.
Yeah.
WTF are you saying?
Bro, but what about pizza Satoshis? And they're like, raffle.
Lols.
Yeah, so it's like this is the Ethereum bros who think they know everything about crypto.
Yeah.
Because, they're the relics of last cycle, and they're playing catch up now, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And they're finding out about these new narratives, these new value derivatives that have been established natively from the ordinal space.
Right.
And what is the first thing? What does that saying go? It's like first they mock you.
First they laugh at you.
And then what happens?
Then they
after
fight
that?
you.
And then they join you.
Well, then they ignore you. Then they fight you. Then you win.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we're in the mocking phase, which is good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I was like,
so
I
that
saw
means
this.
that means for NATs, we're going to enter the mocking phase.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, like, what do you...
But non-arbitrary tokens.
Data? Stupid.
Yeah.
We're going to see that all day.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great. To me, I couldn't be more bullish now on rare sats.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
All right, what are Satoshis, rare sats, and rings? So this is the Saturn Git book.
Yeah, speaking of rare sats, I mean, we're talking about if there's tremendous value in these things, because I'd say they are part of the like digital matter theory class. Like,
yeah, they
this
absolutely
is a real pattern that exists on Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
That is now like new value derivatives are being generated from that, and Saturn is packaging this into like an actual order book situation, right? Like a real exchange.
That's the thing. I wanted to say that watching this channel, you guys do have to do due diligence.
Yeah, because we cannot possibly like deep dive into every single one of these things, right?
All these documents, these Git books, yeah, I mean, it's not fun to read, but it's extremely important.
Yeah.
Because if you're not reading these documents now, you're going to be reading them when you see market caps in the billion, and you're trying to understand, it's like, why is it at $1 billion? Well, let me read the documents. Like, oh, okay, these are non-arbitrary. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be buying like at the top.
Pretty much. But that is why markets are what they are.
Yeah.
The people who are willing to put in that extra due diligence, that extra work, the laboriousness of like actually trying to understand something and then derive like a valuable conclusion from it.
Yeah.
And therefore like an investment hypothesis.
Yeah.
Those are the people who get the rewards because they're willing to put in that work, right?
Yeah, the worst thing you can do right now,
It's
before
just-
like this bull run, is just to fade everything that you see to get traction.
And that's what these are like the most infamous NFT like lords. Again, relics of the past.
Yeah.
They don't get it because they're behind.
All right, so we're looking at Ordinal rugs. Saturn V3 is officially live, and the rug token draws closer. We wanted to share step-by-step instructions on how to properly prepare for the airdrop. So we got an airdrop coming in, dude.
Yeah, this is big. So I mean, if you believe in rare sats and you think the deriving fungible utility out of them, which I mean, there's some sats out there with like tremendous supplies.
Yeah.
So a fungible use case for them makes a lot of sense. So I mean, I would definitely again, put in the due diligence to see if you can potentially qualify for this airdrop. This is the platform itself. We just want to take a quick glance at it if you can, or maybe you can't. I don't know. Okay,
so
never mind.
So yeah, the link will be in the description. Just connect your wallet and you can see all that stuff.
Satoshi VM. Damn, we're running out of time, but this is a big deal.
A new era for Bitcoin. Bitcoin ZK rollups layer 2 solution. Yeah, this is huge, right? If you use Bitcoin, it's kind of slow, kind of.
Yeah, sometimes.
Right.
It can be.
So layer 2 solutions is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, as we predicted, right? This is going to be one of the main narratives this year, right? It's like the layer 2 race.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have Stacks and Nakamoto, but we knew at some point the ZK army was going to just come in and swoop in and just like they did on Ethereum.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 100 roll-up companies.
Yeah, we went to an ETH Denver conference. Yeah. 100 different layer 2 roll-ups.
Yeah, every single like booth was like, here's my ZK. No, my ZK.
Yeah.
It's just a contest of ZK.
Right.
So, of course, that's going to come to Bitcoin, too.
All right. And, of course, NAT is actually trading the... Okay, so...
Yeah.
NAT is the first token in the digital matter theory framework.
Yes.
Right. And so we launched this NAT token. It was a completely fair mint. It blocked out in 7 days. And just yesterday, it started trading. Mm-hmm. And because indexing was fully online.
Well, just 2 days ago. Yeah. Remember, today's Friday.
Oh, that's right. 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And so anyway, $1 million worth of volume in 24 hours since the drop.
Yeah.
So that's huge. This is the most volume in almost every single ordinal in one day.
Yeah, and obviously we didn't know what was going to happen. This is as experimental as it gets.
Yeah.
We again, if you've been following our channel, you know like the whole origin and the whole history of how DMT was formulated. It all began with Bitmap and finally deriving like the actual umbrella, I guess, value of what was being done, right? With Bitmap and with rare sats and now NATs, right? So there's this whole new whole new class of assets.
A new asset class. That's what you're going to say.
Yeah, but I just stopped at ass for some reason. A whole new class of assets that are emerging, right? And the market seems to really like this stuff, according to the volume.
24-hour volume, floor price around $10.
I mean, this is big. If you go to Magic Eden, there isn't what's it called? Another ordinal with more volume in that 24-hour period.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
so all you ordinal bros, it should be pinging your radars. All you ordfluencers.
Yeah, everybody who's looking into ordinals right now, they've already seen NAT and they're trying to understand what the hell it is.
Yeah, so if you're still confused, understand this is kind of complicated at first.
At first, yeah.
But we're here. We're here for you guys. We're gonna keep trying our best to educate and inform as well as we can. You know.
Speaking of.
Oh shit! These guys get it though.
Speaking about bros. Look at these guys.
These is a real...
They're with their cigars, and what are they doing, man?
They're fucking participating, dude. They're having a blast.
Look at that.
The NATs, dude, all day.
Let me zoom in on that. Tab DMT NAT.
Wow.
On Ordinal's wallet. Shout out to Ordinal's wallet.
Yeah. So we saw this, and I don't know. This just made us feel a type of way. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Go
dude?
back to the beginning, though. We saw this with BRC20s in the early days.
And with Bitmap.
And
I think
with
like
Bitmap.
The same crew was like doing the same thing, and they posted the same videos. Like
they did.
I think this is like their call. This is like their
announcement. They're like
beacon to Gondor.
Yeah.
It's like the beacons have been lit. Like this is it, lads.
Yeah.
Let's gather around and let's.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like blown away. I was like, holy shit.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Look at Elon.
He's like, yeah, I want to play too, dude.
All right. Last one. Oh, yeah. Genie data. Right behind BRC20 is Total Inscription stands the TAP protocol. Shout out to Benny and Track. Amidst a day of extreme volume and bullish sentiment, the Ordinals market consistently experiences strong push in volume. Is institutional money about to flow into Ordinals next?
Yes.
We got TAP.
Well, I don't know about institutional money, but again, like TB Spears said, the trickle effect of institutional money on Bitcoin is going to bring more money in general.
Yeah, 100%.
Non-institutional sources, right?
Yeah.
And it's naturally going to spill into the ordinal space.
Yeah, if any institutional money comes into ordinals, it's going to be through VCs and project funding. So that's about it.
Right, which
is
product
huge.
funding enables like product delivery, and then that attracts real users, and
More users attract more users.
yeah, it's going to be,
Yeah.
that's pretty much going to be the tale of this year. But it's cool to see Tap like literally neck and neck right there with BRC20s.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Do
We-
we have
we
a potential flipping afoot?
Yeah, we did what we could. So shout out to Benny putting this together with NATs.
Yeah, because it's
this
important.
this
dude.
is NAT right here. That's mostly NAT stuff here.
Yeah, and baked.
And
Shout
baked.
out to the baked against the baked bros.
Dude,
who
we
are-
said there was one baked, and then there would be more baked after that, right?
they're all baked.
But everyone's baked right now.
The bakes are gone. The
If you don't know what that is, check out our Twitter channel. All right, that's it
Yeah.
for us. If we miss anything, let us know in the comment section below. That's been the Ordinal Takeover. Of course, we're going to be in the Discords. We're in all the Discords, basically.
Mhm.
So hit us up. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.